Yeah, I've heard that we're actually hiding the numbers of actual wounded soldiers, but hopefully that's not true. That's why I haven't really reporting on it because one, I haven't seen too much about it being true. Well, from a couple sources, but other than that, now I have nothing that proves that we're hiding the number of wounded soldiers. Hopefully, I don't find anything on that.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the War Room. I'm your host, Harrison Smith, coming to you for the last time live from the InfoWars studios here in Austin, Texas. This will be our last broadcast under the InfoWars banner, and we'll be launching again tomorrow from the offsite satellite Escape Pod studios under Alex Jones Network. You got to go to alexjoneslive.com to find us, share that link, tell your friends, and don't let us fade from your daily media consumption. Because I know how it happens. People get in habits, and if the website they used to go to doesn't have the thing they watch, they just don't watch anymore. Don't do that to us. Won't you follow us to wherever we go? Because without you, we are nothing. I'm in studio with the one and only Myron Gaines. He, of course, is the host of The Debrief. He's a best-selling author, real estate investor. Prior to entrepreneurship, Gaines was a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations in the Laredo, Texas, Miami, and Florida field offices. And of course, you've been going viral every day, it seems, with these appearances at universities. How's that going? Because I was actually asking you before the show, but I think people would want to know this as well, because I've thought about doing stuff like this, but after Charlie Kirk, I don't know, am I being cowardly by going, I don't think I want to go out and put my life in danger like that?
No, I mean, it's pretty rational. People are weird and crazy. I mean, I told you about the one guy that tried to reach his bag to try to be funny or whatever. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? You're going to get shot by the cops that are right next to you.
Right.
It takes a certain kind of person. I mean, me, I don't care so much. I'm not so worried. I guess maybe it's because what I used to do for work. So like when you're dealing with crazy criminals, you don't think so, but at the same time, you don't want to get overzealous and, put yourself in a precarious situation. But, it's entertaining to see how a lot of these so-called intellectuals are really.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah. How do we deal with this? Because at this point, I'm like, I don't even want to talk about politics anymore because everything seems so obvious to me. It's like, why do we have to talk about this still? Just everything. But like I posted today, it's like, man, if there was just for example, me, if I was given dictatorial, unquestionable powers, I think I could clean up America in about a week. I think it'd take about a week, but every problem we face is so imminently solvable.
I ain't gonna say a week, bro. Man, give me half a year. Give me half a year of complete control of America. I'll fix this entire country in 6 months. Give me 6 months, whole country will be fixed from top to bottom. I mean, sure, there's gonna be a whole lot of public executions, but I guarantee you, though, this country's gonna be fixed.
And we just don't do it. And it's just this endless cascade of deliberate, problems that we choose to create for ourselves. And it's just infuriating. And I'm like, we played the video yesterday where it's a guy with giant rubber tits and the big spindly beard and bald head and lipstick, and he's teaching a class at Oxford. And it's just like,
bro, clown.
Do I have to explain this? Why do I have to explain?
I'll tell you
this is crazy and wrong.
I've talked about this. If I was ever to become the fear of the United States, what I would do immediately,
a dream we all revel in.
Day one would be an IQ test.
Right.
If you score under a 90, you're going to become a slave. We're going to make slavery great again. And then after that, I'm going to take they can't vote. They got to be in the house by 8 p.m. We're going to put them back in the kitchen. And then what else? I talked about the slavery. So they're going to be manufacturing. They're going to be putting fries in a bag. Okay. We're going to get back to making them pick cotton. And then we're going to make manufacturing great again in America. We don't need Chinese anymore. We just need slaves. The slaves are going to do all the labor. And we'll put them in a house or a cottage or whatever. They don't got to pay for anything, but we're going to make slavery great again. And then
he said, slavery for people who are sub 100 IQ. If you're a 99 IQ, sorry, bro, you're going to the fields, you're going to the factories. Above 100 IQ, 101, bro, you just barely made it.
We're going to get rid of the fat people as well.
You know what's funny? All right, well, I want to hear your
make them slaves
your ideas of that. But you know what's funny is the legitimate plan for the future that the people in power currently have is actually worse than that, because they want AI to do all the work and they just want to kill all the humans. Slavery is actually the preferable.
Slavery is better.
Debatably,
slavery is better, and I wouldn't get us into any wars either. These foreign wars are.
Guys, it's actually creepy. You ever notice the same time they're pushing AI, they're also pushing for assisted suicide as well, or assisted deletions, self-deletions as well. What do they call it? I know there's a fancier word for it, but yes, the same time they've been pushing these AI robots and all this good stuff and the chat bots, they've also been pushing for humans to be able to choose to self-delete themselves. So yeah, trust me, it's going towards it. And it's getting pretty anti-human out here.
What are we doing here? Like, it's simple. Hey, look, you can't be bombing your enemies or attacking your enemies. You have to answer the Palestine question. Once you answer the Palestine question, the rest of the Middle East is going to be fine. You either do a one-state solution, bring all the Palestinians in, one passport, or else we're just not going to support you anymore, and then you're going to get destroyed anyway. What do you want to do? Once we handle that problem, then we go over to the Iranians. All right, cool. We want we want gas at $1 a gallon. We're going to go ahead and do diplomacy with you guys. Let's end this war. The problem is that since we can't do real diplomacy because they are holding us back because they're going to keep attacking.
Yeah.
And then we bring slaves over on our side domestically. They're going to become slaves. Back in the kitchen. Repeal the 19th Amendment, 8 p.m. curfew. Oh, also another thing, they cannot use Instagram or TikTok anymore. If they try to, it shocks their hands.
Interesting.
Yes. If they try to open up TikTok or any of that. And then I'm going to have state TV. We're also going to bring torturing back, the Waterboard Network, where if you do a heinous crime like that, weirdo that killed, what's her name, on the train?
Irina Zarutska.
They killed Irina. Rest in peace to her. Like that weirdo, we torture him on camera.
Yeah, see, so that's what I'm not endorsing your policies.
That was hell of extreme, but I ain't gonna lie though. I can see it working. I mean, very extreme. But it could work though. I mean, my way is a little less extreme, but man, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, you got some decent plans.
I think maybe there's some nuance that needs to be, but in theory, I mean, I like the direction that you're going. But this is the thing. It's like, yes,
all the biggest criminals, we waterboard them. You kill kids, you do any of that stuff, we're going to waterboard you on camera, or, we'll let the victim's family decide the torture method.
I'm legitimately not opposed to that, because right now, the thing is, we have a justice system set up because we recognize that it's the preferable system. It's not because we need it. Yeah. Right. In the absence of a justice system, we'd probably be more capable of getting justice against somebody like Irina Zarutska's killer, because the community would grab him and hang him from a tree, and it'd be done, and it'd be over. And that afternoon, we'd all,
I think with criminals like that, you can't kill them. You got to torture them so that, because here's the thing with criminals, like serial killers and these weirdos, they get off on having power over people and torturing them and torturing them, killing them, and then letting them come back or letting them pass out. You got to do the same thing to them. You got to make them feel that terror. With everybody watching on 4K TV.
Have we talked about this before? Because I think we should bring back public flogging.
Jesus.
We did get to talk about it a little bit. We didn't get to finish. I agree with you that we need to bring back public flogging and torture and all that other stuff too.
And you say that, and it sounds crazy, but if you really think about it,
it's a big deterrent.
It's a huge deterrent. And like you're saying, a lot of these people, especially,
Like what? So if you catch a kid stealing at the candy store, stealing at the store, all right, man, tie his ass up. We'll have to flog him in public. Well, damn. But I mean, it might be necessary. I mean, like I said, we need deterrents. I mean, we don't need to be like the Saudis and out here start chopping hands off, but we do need something.
They get off on having power. So when you remove that power from them, all these serial killers, they like to strangle and they like to make it intimate and make them feel like they can play God. All right, cool. We're going to make you feel the same terror that you did to your victim.
Or just like people in the ghetto, it's no different to them living in the prison or in the, and it's actually kind of a badge of honor. I've been to prison. You're not hard unless you go to prison. Yeah. So it's are you going to be hard when you're stripped down and your bare ass is being whipped by an old white guy? That's very humiliating.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
It would actually be more of a deterrent than prison would.
That'll be hilarious.
Right?
That'll be hilarious.
And look, hey, people think I'm advocating something brutal here. If it was up to you, would you rather spend 10 years in a concrete box or take 10 lashes on your back? I would choose the lashing. I think a lot of people would.
And like I said, it would be based on the severity of the crime, but I do think that torture is the way to go, man, with a lot of these crooks.
I mean,
deterrent perspective.
Again,
from a deterrent perspective, we gotta torture people live on national television. I mean, it's gonna work. It's gonna work, but god damn, talk about putting the fear of God in people. Jesus.
Might sound extreme to some people, but then you look at the way our justice system currently resolves. And what we're pointing out here is that
guy should have never been out of jail.
That guy should have never been out of jail.
Stab her in the neck like that. That was horrible.
I have 4 videos like this where people have 55 convictions and they're out there strangling another woman. And it's just all right, the system is broken. And I know people say that a lot, but legitimately, it is now counterproductive because we could achieve justice more easily. Of course, the problem
especially
is
at the state level.
Oh, or just the local level. Yeah. Just that's the thing. We have this system of justice that's supposed to be better than vengeance. It's supposed to, take the place of that and do it through a systematic way so that it doesn't spiral out of control and cause, back and forth cycle of violence. It's obviously preferable, but not if the criminals get let out over and over and over and over again. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's and the thing is like there's no incentive for them to stop because it's like, I'm just going to get off again and, with a slap on the wrist or whatever. And a lot of these state systems are so super backed up, at least with the feds. Like if they get convicted, they're going to do 80 to 90% of the time. Feds typically don't lose. But
guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. And it'd be a great help if you support the show as well with any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep it going.
A lot of prosecutors at the federal level they have the leisure of like not taking every single case, and these state courts are very bogged down, and they handle some of the most serious crimes like murder 1, murder 2, etc. Like you need some type of federal nexus for the feds to take murder, right? You got to kill a federal officer and affect interstate commerce, etc. So these state courts and
it's funny, bro. Myron's not even talking about doing it off skin color. This man is talking about IQ level. Like, dog, if you like 99 IQ below, you're a slave. You're going to the factories, you're going to the fields, you're cooked. If you're in Myron society. So, I mean, that's a lot of cooked guys, bro. A lot of guys are going to be out there in those fields.
These state prosecutors are overworked. They have too many cases. The state judges.
Like, if you ever look at the IQ bell curve, like it's kind of funny how guys work out because we got more dumb people than women do, but we also got more smart people than women do because our IQ kind of stretches across the spectrum. Women, they kind of hold up there at the top. So most women are around that 90 to about 110 IQ. Be real with you. But that's just their average. They're all held up here at the top. Or I'm sorry, but in the middle. If you look at the IQ bell curve.
Same thing. And then you got a lot of bleeding hearts that like just don't want to go ahead and make these guys actually pay the cost to, for the crime. So there's so many issues that we have here. But I do think torturing these criminals would be the way to do it.
Yeah. Or
the most heinous offenses, of course.
Yeah, I actually don't think that's actually all that crazy, especially when you look at the way in which people with 55, and of course it's anarcho-tyranny, right? It would actually be fine if we just didn't have a system and we could just take care of things ourselves. Like somebody breaks into my house, I just bury him in the backyard, problem solved. Like that's not an issue. Or even if we had tyranny, if we had any of the benefits of tyranny, that sort of thing. We have all of the negatives of tyranny. We have the oppressive, speech laws where you'll be canceled if you say certain things. We've got all the crazy stuff
women
about
in
tyranny.
Power.
we can debate that, but the typically tyranny would come with a trade-off. It would be, hey, I'm going to be in charge, but in return, you're going to get safety. We don't have either. Yeah. So we have tyranny, but none of the ostensible benefits of tyranny.
What's supposed to come alongside? Yeah, exactly. No, it's ridiculous.
So it's absolutely infuriating.
At least we got the Second Amendment. Could be worse. We could be like Canada or England.
Yeah, that's true. And look at the way Ireland is going right now. I think we should be running guns to those people.
Yeah, it's cool.
In all seriousness.
Yeah, the IRA can't do it anymore.
So here's something interesting because you talk a lot about women and you talk a lot about geopolitics.
And we should help some of these guys revolt. Like some of these guys really need help revolting, especially in some of these European countries. Is what he's saying, not me, but him. And I'd actually feel him on some of that because I ain't gonna lie, some of the way these people are being treated in their countries is outrageous. Ireland is one of them.
Politics, and I see sort of a through line through both of these things. Yeah. Because often I'm obviously very against the Iran war. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Agreed.
I also am
biggest mistake ever.
That's what I've been calling. I've literally been since day one. I've been saying this is the biggest mistake anybody's ever made. And I'm not even exaggerating.
Because I've been keeping up with the war like at a very autistic level,
right?
And it's just, as I'm sure you have. Well, I've seen you on Twitter as well talking about it, dude. It's just been one of the biggest L's. You got the Epstein blunder, and now you got this war, which we're losing strategically, right? Hegseth and Kane are going on the Pentagon every couple days. Oh well, we're winning this war. We're blowing them up. Destroying them militarily. Who cares? The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Brent is sitting at like $120 a barrel right now, dude. Like, what are we talking about? It was like at 119 I saw yesterday. I don't know what it is right now at this moment, but we're over.
You want to know where Brent crude is trading at this moment? We're at I believe 113 for Brent crude. Let me go ahead and take you straight to the website. Yeah, right here we are. We're Brent crude. We're trading at above $100 at 113, and then WTI is trading above $100 at 104. So this is where we're at with the gas prices or the gas futures, which is not looking good whatsoever. Not at all. need them to get back into the 60s. Well, you see, we're a long way from that.
$100 for a barrel of oil. People are paying double to fill their tank. This is crazy. Like Trump ran on no new wars and affordability, and it's completely betrayed that.
That's our fault. That's the podcaster's fault. That's the woke Reich, which we are prominent members. Obviously, that's our fault. When people are filling up at the gas, station, and they're seeing those numbers tick up, they're thinking those podcasters
they told us
talking about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, it could have been Kamala Harris, which is a woman. We didn't have a choice.
We didn't have a choice. We were screwed either way. We are screwed coming and going. It's unfortunate, but sort of true, man. There's a lot of stuff to get into with Iran, but
sure.
But I want to connect this to the thing too, because I have a lot of people when I talk about not wanting to be at war with Iran, they go, "Don't you know Muslims are at war with us, and this is you must be on the side of the Muslims."
And that'd be the dumbest argument ever. Don't you know we need to go to war with the Muslims? No, the F we don't. And if that's your argument, then I'm sorry, but we're always going to be at war if it's about going to war with the Muslims. And I mean, let's be real. We're the ones who keep attacking them. We're the ones who started it with them. But what? We're talking about we need to go to war with them? Or I'm sorry, but this is just dumb. Like when people sit there and have this hatred of Muslims and Arabs, I'm just like, this is that hatred that pushes us into countless interventions in the Middle East, countless, because you guys just have a hatred towards Muslims where you feel like you got to take their land from them. Like, do you hear how you guys sound right now? And and I'm gonna be real with you, the people who think like this are, well, one of the biggest problems in America, because people like that support war with any Muslim country and they don't even care. They just care that Muslims are being killed. That's all they want. That's all they care about. And we got to remove those guys out the conversation. Like, they just got to go, because they don't want what's best for the country. They want what's best for their bigotry. And their bigotry says, hey, I'm cool as long as Muslims are getting bombed to hell.
Response is always, let's say I completely am on your side. Like, let's say I'm on the side of the neocons and I'm like, Muslims are the biggest threat. We have to stop them.
Yeah.
Every war in the Middle East has led directly to an influx of Muslims into Europe and America and a gain in their power. So it's like the end is misaligned with the means. And I feel the same thing with, like, I have just a few numbers and you could have pages of this stuff, but it's stuff like suicide rate up 50% since 2000. Antidepressant use up 250% since 1990. Single motherhood up 700% since 1960. So tell me if I'm being too schizophrenic here, but I see a similarity where it's like, no, if you actually want this positive outcome, you need to do this conservative stuff. And the liberals come along and say, you must hate and love Muslims. And it's like, there's a disconnect between the intent and the outcome. And for
low key though, the left is like, no, you must love Muslims. It's like, no, you don't gotta love the guys. We gotta sit there and understand our history with Muslims, so we don't keep on getting into it with them. Now sit there and love them, sit there and understand them, sit there and actually try to have diplomacy with a lot of these Muslim countries, because the only reason why we're not cool with them is because Israel said so. And I'm like dead ass. That's really the reason why we're not cool with Iran. One, because of the tit for tat that we've been doing with Iran since the 50s. And then, of course, one also because Israel says so. And so crazy. There's dumbasses like this here who, so what? It's like, here's the thing, dude. Like, it's just so stupid how people have comments like this. We need to keep them out of our country. Dog, it's not about keeping Muslims out the country. I'm sorry, but you can kick Muslims out the country today, and we'll still have the problems in the Middle East because we're still out there bombing them. We're still out there attacking their country, telling them what they can and can't do. So removing all of the Muslims out of the country doesn't do anything, dumbass. I mean, you're pretty stupid, and I mean, you're pretty surface level thinking if you actually think that's an answer to solve all your problems in America. No, you're just a hateful person who really don't care about America. You just care about your own bigotry. And leftist Nazi need to be removed like this host. I'm on the right, dumbass. Like, that's the thing, though. When y'all don't really have an argument for y'all hatred of Muslims, for your irrational hatred of Muslims, now they're a leftist. Now they're a Nazi. Now they need to be removed. You see what I mean by the right is turning into the left? And, bro, it was the left that was using Nazis. Now you guys are adapting the word for every person you disagree with? Do you see what I mean by MAGA is turning into the left? This guy right here is the best example I can give you of that. Actually, he's not even the best example. I can give you better ones, but he's just dumb enough to make himself the best example right now.
some reason people cannot bridge that gap. Is it coming across?
No.
Okay.
You're 100% right, because here's the problem. These get into power and they vote more mass immigration.
Right.
And then we destroy these places and these people need a place to go.
Yep.
And it's kind of funny because we destroy these places on behalf of it. They taking them in.
No, of course not.
The UK is taking them in. The United States taking them in. Canada's taking them in, etc. And it's like, if we don't destroy their countries, they can stay in their countries.
Right.
Right. And it's like, it's interesting because like the people that push us to destroy these countries so much don't take any of them in whatsoever. Yep. So, and then these very that you're talking about that don't want to have kids.
All right, Jew, how am I an idiot? Please say something. You have 2 minutes to prove how I'm an idiot or you're up out of here. Go ahead, say it.
Is that, or have high depression rates, etc. They're the ones pushing for the mass immigration.
Yeah.
So it's just an L in every single way. And, and when it comes to this war, in this conflict, the whole, and here's the thing, you can hate Muslims all the time. I make jokes on them all the time. And I say they're, I'm Muslim. I like when they pray at Times Square, I say they're I make fun of them too. They hate me as well. It is what it is.
I know, shout out to Myron though. He does have that criticism. He's Muslim himself. And he even said that, y'all praying in Times Square is ridiculous and doesn't help this whole fear of Islam. And I agree with him on that one. I'm like, yeah, them playing in the Times Square and all this crazy stuff. I mean, and people getting outraged about it. But here's the thing though. People got outraged at Muslims praying in Times Square, but what was it? Like a couple of days later, a bunch of Jewish people were literally celebrating the return of their Antichrist. So I'm just like, hold on. You guys are complaining about Muslims praying to God, but you won't complain about Jewish people wanting to bring in the Antichrist, celebrating it. Okay. I mean, sorry, but you're not being consistent there. I mean, Dearborn, Michigan. So you guys want to complain about how Muslims took over Dearborn, Michigan, but there's a city in New Jersey that's completely ran by Jews in and out. Though they even got their own police force, just like in Dearborn. But y'all don't say nothing about that. That's why I don't listen to you guys, because you're not consistent with your judgment. And y'all only care if it's Muslims. You don't care when the Mexicans do it. You don't care when the Chinese do it. You really don't care when the Jews do it. So shut the fuck up.
But we have to be very honest here and understand that it is not Islam that is the problem. It is a lot of propaganda pushed by the Jews to sit there and say, look, see, these guys are evil. They're demonizing. But let's be honest here. I would argue radical Judaism is worse than radical Islam. Why? Because you got radical in power. You got people like Randy Fine that support that are firsters. They support people like Ben Gvir.
The fact that Randy Fine could sit there and wish death on or celebrate the death of Palestinian children and still remain in Congress. I'm sorry, but that's why we kind of look at y'all like dumbasses when you talk about the Muslims. I'm just like, bro, Myron got a point. There is a Jewish supremacy problem going on. Will you ever just sit there and talk disgusting about Arabs in any way, shape, or form on Fox News, CNN, wherever? Bro, if they took that rhetoric and said that about Jews, they'd be off the fucking air. So I'm sorry, but it's really hard to sit here and get mad about Muslims when Jews do everything that the Muslims do that you guys complain about and you say nothing. And if you're going to say nothing, I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to not judge anybody. If I'm not going to judge how Muslims can cut out their own little place in Michigan or Texas, then I'm definitely not going to complain about how the Jews do it in New York and New Jersey. I'm being consistent. But if you're going to sit there and bitch about how one does the other, but ignore the other side, you're not being consistent. You're just being low-key, slightly racist. Be real with you. You're picking and choosing.
Veer, Smoltrich, etc. Yep. These guys are radical that want to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is a big thing that led to October 7th. Right. And once you actually figure out Middle Eastern foreign policy, what's going on over there, whatever, is run by radical Jews that are way worse. They want to talk about the clerics of Iran versus the people that run Iran versus the people that run Israel. Let's do some numbers. On October 7th, roughly 1,200 people were killed, allegedly. We know roughly 400 of those people were IDF. So, but let's round it up. Let's say 1,000 were killed, right? Say they're all civilians, even though the Hannibal Directive was activated. Me and you know this.
Yes.
But for the normies out there, let's say 1,000 were killed, right? During the 12-day war, it killed roughly 1,000 people in Iran. Well, how did it respond versus how Iran responded? Iran responded by having a ceasefire and doing a symbolic strike back on El Udeid base and letting the United States know that they're going to bomb them while also attacking back and retaliating. How did Israel respond? Genocide and invading 7 different countries, right? Or bombing 7 different countries. I would argue, as much as people want to sit the propaganda and say radical Muslims, well, the Iranians were far more measured and rational than the Israelis were when they lost 1,000 people. Yep. And the numbers don't lie. Look at how they retaliated. So we have to be very honest with ourselves and understand that this is a country that's occupied by
What he's saying that Israel lost over 1,000 people and took out 70,000. Iran lost over 1,000 people and, well, what are they, like 13 soldiers?
Zionists who...
True, and they ain't just start recklessly bombing neighborhoods in the Middle East. They ain't start recklessly bombing innocent civilians. So I ain't gonna lie, yeah, it does seem like the crazy mullahs are a little bit more measured than the Likud party in Israel.
The government is run by far-right, crazy radicals that want to destroy the mosque, start wars, continue wars, and they say they're God's chosen people. And when you have that mindset, you're just going to blow up and kill everybody, like what they're doing in Lebanon, displace 1 million plus people, do a genocide in Gaza, which every single genocide expert has agreed to include ones that what went down in Gaza is a genocide. But then they'll sit there and tell you it's not a genocide. Okay, bro, and it was a 6 million. So
yeah, but that's the thing. It's like they want to quibble over like the definition of genocide. It's like you are clearly, deliberately eradicating an entire group of people. Like, who cares what the
whole
particular?
Or in part. And they keep forgetting that in part as well as part of is a part of that. So.
Oh, and there's so much to the UN definition of genocide, depending on what you want to go on. But you only need to fulfill one of the 5 prerequisites, and they've fulfilled all 5. So it's ridiculous for anybody to argue otherwise. And yeah, that's the thing, especially with the Iran war. It's like all of this debate between like, well, what are we intending to do, and what's going to be the main outcome, and what was the purpose of this, and how long did it take? And to me, it's like, guys, this is all on purpose. They want to.
I mean, I don't know about that, Alex, because your guy Nick. I don't know why everybody's trying to get Myron to debate this Nick guy when Myron is debated. Well, I'm gonna be real with you, more famous pro-Zionist than Nick Mateo or Matu or whatever his name is. Yeah, he's debated more famous people like Dinesh D'Souza. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's a way bigger name than bro. And y'all are wanting him to debate this Nick guy. I'm sorry, but just go watch that Dinesh D'Souza. Hopefully I'm not butchering his name, but go watch that debate and watch how Myron dismantled him. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Nick could do any better than that guy.
Iran to be a failed state. They want war to never end there. They want the Strait of Hormuz to be shut down because they want the rationing to take place because they want to implement the mark of the beast. Like none of the, we don't need to debate like the nuclear weapons versus opening the strait versus this is the plan. The plan is total collapse. The plan is destroy America by using it against Iran. This seems so obvious to me. I cannot handle like debating the cover story anymore.
Yeah,
that's how it feels.
I debated Dinesh D'Souza on this topic with the war, and it's kind of funny because he used like all the Hezbollah talking points, and it's like, dude, it's very simple. All they care about is destabilization across the entire region, right? They want another Syria and Iran, and they tried with. First, they tried with Scott Bessent crashing into Rio. That failed. Then they did the protests. That failed. We tried to smuggle into Starlinks. That failed. We tried to smuggle guns in there. That failed. And then, we're bombing the hell out of them. We're winning militarily. And then Trump says stuff like, oh, yeah, we're going to go ahead and bomb them into the Stone Age and a civilization might die. And we're going to do power plant day. Well, all the Iranians that you might have had on your side, now they're going to side with the government. Now they're rallying around the flag. I saw so many videos where they bomb somewhere and the people are out there protesting.
Yeah, dumbass. I watched them debate the Muslim skeptic guy. So, yes, I'm very familiar with Nick's content and debate style. Yes, I also seen him debate Sneeko too. And he's not too impressive at all. I'll be real with you. He's just not impressive. That's all. I mean, I've seen, honestly, Dinesh D'Souza makes better points than he does. And honestly, if Myron can cook that guy, then he's definitely going to cook Nick. And here's the thing. I ain't gonna lie. I actually gave the debate to Nick. Like, I'm not saying that I'll disagree with Nick whenever, because I think he beat the Muslim skeptic. He cooked that guy. But Myron, he's not going to cook Myron. I'm not at all. And if you actually watch the debate between the Muslim skeptic and this Nick Mateo guy, I mean, I think the Muslim skeptic pretty much tackled the debate the wrong way. He couldn't be on topic. And also, what was it? He just went off on Judaism. He just completely went off on Judaism and didn't really talk about the Iran war too much.
That's like, they're like, yeah, well, Akbar. Like, these people are saying, praise God as we bomb them. So it's like, these people are different and they're going to rally around the flag, and they are rallying around the flag. And they went ahead and they, like, when Trump said that he was going to bomb the power plants, they were standing at the power plants with the flag saying, if you're going to blow up these power plants, you're going to blow us up too. These people
Trump said, you can't do that. He's like, that's not allowed.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
So you want to destroy the power plant so they die slowly, but they're not allowed to put themselves in the way and die
on the
quickly.
Bridges and all the infrastructure. So it's like, we've emboldened them even more to stand behind their government. The people that would have maybe said, maybe rebelled, they're not with us anymore. So this war serves zero strategic benefit. Americans are paying for it. Brent is sitting at, when I looked yesterday, almost $120 a barrel, which is horrible.
Yeah.
And
it's only getting worse. And the fertilizer, being restricted, that's
Australia has a food crisis right now.
Yeah. And it's going to get worse. Like there's no end in sight for this. And of course, China's not going to suffer from it because they get their fertilizer from their urea for their fertilizer from coal.
They're still getting oil from Iran,
which they have plenty of. So it's like
Russia's making money hand over fist because we had to lift the sanctions. So it's like, and then, we got this blockade in the Persian Gulf. We're stopping them from making money. Number one, dozens of ships are making it through. The blockade can't stop everyone. And the Iranians are making.
I got you, dog. I said the Muslim skeptic. You know what? Let me see here if I can just take you like right to the page, since I kind of do want you to know what I'm talking about here. If I can find it,
a bunch of money from that. Also, people forget Caspian Sea. Anybody?
Right.
Like all these people on Fox News.
Thank you. The Caspian Sea acting like they can't transfer their oil from there. But here it is. This is it right here. This is the Nick Mateo, however you want to pronounce it, versus Daniel Hakachu. How would you? Let's call him the Muslim skeptic. That's his YouTube name. But this is the debate that I was talking about. That, in my opinion, he did pretty good in. He did pretty well in that debate. But he seems to be coming up in a debate space. So to get on Myron's level, he ain't there yet. And yes, Myron's is actually levels above Nick. I mean, in the debate space, bro, come on now. He debates people that, be real with you, that you be seeing in these college debates like Dinesh Kazuza. So you can't sit there and put Nick Mateo on Myron's level. He's just not there yet. Even though Nick do be begging for the debate, not really begging, but pleading for it, still begging. And trust me, Myron don't got to give it to him because he's just a bigger name than him all the way through.
Like, do you guys not look at the map? Like the Iranians are still getting an enormous amount of support from the Russians on the Caspian Sea, and we have zero oversight on that whatsoever. Yeah. That's why the foreign minister, Aragachi, was up in Russia meeting with Putin. That was absolutely a demonstration of, look, we stand with Iran. We're going to support Iran. So our enemies have become stronger. Right. Yes, Iran has been hurt militarily, but they're still able to attack, which is the whole problem.
No, and it's the same thing that happened with Ukraine, where, I guess ostensibly we went to weaken Russia, but all that happened was Russia and China are now best buddies. And it's like, okay, if our main geopolitical rival is China and we foresee basically an ultimate conflict with them, would you not want a European nation of Christians that like basically surrounds all of China? Would you not want them to be our friends, but we force them into the hands of China? And I do not believe it's because of incompetence. I cannot believe that the people who run America are so stupid that they're driving Russia into China's hands and then empowering China through shutting the strait. I mean, this is all on purpose, right?
And the other thing that kills me is we are ruining our relationship in the Gulf as well. So like all these Gulf countries are getting bombed and destroyed. Their tourism is down, real estate is down in UAE, especially the UAE has been getting hit with like 2,000 different strikes. Mm-hmm. They left OPEC.
Yep.
People are like, oh, that's good. That's like a W, blah, blah, blah. No, sir. This signifies what I've been talking about. The petrodollar is going to go down. And that is a big part of the reason why we have so much prosperity, because people do deals in oil in US dollars.
Right.
And, and here's the other thing. Our bases are destroyed. They finally reported in mainstream media that all 11 or 12 so of our military bases are gone. There's no way they're going to let us rebuild them because we're not going to do the regime change. If we don't do the regime change, Iran is going to be free to attack those bases. And they said, if you can...
Bro, listen to Nick Mateo, but he talk about political McDonald's when the guy isn't even popular on YouTube or Twitter. Bro, what you watch is political McDonald's. What we watch is like the Roof Chris of politics. And sadly, Myron Gang's on a higher level than your Nick guy. I mean, look, you can go dick ride Nick on his channel, on his Twitter. He got one. You can go dick ride him there. But I'm sorry, but it's just not going to go over here because nobody cares. I'm sorry. He's just not important enough. And maybe one day he will be. Maybe one day he will. And I'll be there cheering him on. I ain't no hater.
Rebuild those bases. We're going to continue to bomb you. So there's no way any of these Gulf states are going to let us rebuild the bases. So we've lost our footing in the region now. We are going to have to back out and leave at some point. That fills the void for who? Russia or China might be the protection, or even Iran themselves. Robert Pape, who studies this stuff, he said something really intelligent, which I thought was good. He wrote a fantastic article about this in the New York Times, that Iran might rise out of this as like the fourth world power. And I'm like, you know what? They can, because all they got to do is hang on.
Yeah.
Right. If they can just hang on, now they're going to be the power in the region, and then they're aligned with our enemies, with Russia and China, and then this is going to continue to lead to the de-dollarization, and we lose our reserve currency status. We're cooked.
Yeah,
right.
And of course, Europe is probably the place suffering most from all this because of all the stuff. Well, in Australia as well.
LNG,
yeah,
natural gas 20%, which the whole sanctions of Europe, right? All the sanctions against Russia.
All right, I apologize for the dick riding comment. I'll be fair.
Were based upon Qatar giving them their energy with natural gas, and they had to lift those sanctions because Iran blew up LNG, which was Qatar's which 20% of the world's natural gas. So it's like, dude, it's like cooked.
Yeah, and I don't think it's an accident. I think it's because the people that got us into this are destroying America and hate Europe. And it's like, these are the places that are suffering because of this. And by the way, because they destroyed all of our bases, now it's raining in Iran again. Have you looked into that?
Yeah.
The weather weapons. I mean, I think it's real. I think it's total.
Yo, I need to look deeper into that, but I've been hearing from so many sources that since Iran destroyed certain radars, bro, it's raining and snowing in Iran again. Apparently we've been, turning Iran into a desert on purpose, just pretty much manipulating their weather so they don't really get no real rain. But Iran destroyed some radars, and now all of a sudden it's, raining in Iran. And are we duplicitous enough to do that? Are we duplicitous enough to cause, manufactured droughts? Are we really that sinister? I hope not, but it sounded like it.
Really real. They've been in a drought for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I got stories from all the way back. Ahmadinejad in 2012 is going, hey, is destroying our rain clouds and not letting us get rain. They destroy all the radar bases, and now there's this massive flooding in Iran, and they're getting rain that they 100 years worth of rain.
And keep in mind, even with the drought, a lot of people don't know this. Iran was like the breadbasket of the Middle East,
right?
And they're self-sufficient with food, like 80%. They make 80% of their own food. So now they're going to be able to make even more. So it's like, strategically, this is such a L. It's incredible. And the mainstream media, like when I watch Fox News,
we'll be right back. We got to go to commercial break. We'll be right back.
Now, you know the creepy thing about that weather manipulation thing? We actually have people who came to Congress and admitted that, we could control the weather. Like, wait, we can? Like, yes, guys, apparently we can control the weather. We've been able to do so for years, maybe even decades.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is The War Room. I'm your host, Harrison Smith, in studio with Myron Gaines. But I got to tell y'all, folks, it is the last episode we'll be doing out of these studios. It is a bittersweet time for us, but the good news is we will be continuing our operations just under a different banner.
Hey, yo, Chad, you're wrong. He's like, come on, said we didn't kill millions through sanctions. Of course we would do weather manipulation. I mean, if we're willing to do it through sanctions, why not weather? I give it to you.
Jones Network and AlexJonesLive.com is how you find us. Go to X and follow at AJN Live to find us. We will be starting the show just like always.
Copy of it here. Yeah, Why Deserve Even Less?
I saw. What's the name of your new book?
It's called Why Women Deserve Less. Well, even less, because they do deserve even less. So I got a copy of it here. Yeah, Why Women Deserve Even Less. Book number 1 was Why Women Deserve Less. Then I realized, man, they deserve even less now. That's book number 2. And book 3 is we're working on it. Why Women Deserve Nothing. And then another book is coming out, The Jew in Their Lies. That's going to come out on September 11th.
Okay.
Yeah. Rosh Hashanah or whatever their holiday is.
On Rosh Hashanah. Okay. Rosh Hashanah. Oh, what a way to celebrate.
Yeah.
They'll be bombing Iran, I'm sure.
They probably will
as they like to do.
Yeah.
Which is one of those things, it's so fun. And there's a lot of stuff like this in the Iran war where it's like they write articles that are like, bombing Iran, starting this war with Iran on Purim was a brilliant example of, our living, history and religion. And so you point to it and you go, so they started a war as like a religious celebration, and people go, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you say that? You can, Netanyahu gets up and goes, we are waging this war to bring about the Messiah, and we will be building the third temple. And you go, these jackasses are trying to build the third temple and bring about the Antichrist. And people go, you're crazy. Why would you say that? You have these crazy ideas.
They're saying it in our face. They even brought in the red cows. I know what you're saying, Seth. What are you talking about by red cows? All right, guys. So you got to understand, there's a Jewish ritual where you got to bring in perfectly red cows. You got to sacrifice the red cows. Then you burn the red cows and use the ashes that could be used for spiritual healing properties as well. And they said the ashes can even cure blindness. But you take these ashes and you spread them amongst the wall. And apparently now the next step is to rebuild the temple. And to rebuild the third temple means that you got to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the third holiest site in Islam. And I think you see where this is going, right? So you're pretty much going to start a complete holy war in order to build the third temple. And once they build the third temple, this is what's supposed to bring in the Messiah, well, the Jewish Messiah, aka our Antichrist. So yeah. And remember, this all starts with the red heifers. And you can look up the red heifers and you will see how, yes, they got these red heifers pretty much grown in Texas, or real. I mean, I don't even really know how I can say it. Manufactured, grown, breaded. I think that's the right word. Breaded in Texas, flown out to Israel for, to be sacrificed on a later date. Real, huh?
It's bizarre that
it's true.
You're just repeating what they're saying, but you're the crazy one.
Yeah.
No, they're the crazy one, y'all.
And it's, and they do everything in their power to like kind of keep this information from the public. Dude, they imported 5 red cows.
I know.
Texas. And it's like, that's a big reason why October 7th happened. Like people don't realize like Hamas's operation was called Operation Al-Aqsa Flood because they wanted to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they imported these red cows. And now the Abraham Accords, the red cows, the 10,000 Palestinian prisoners that are being held in it with like no charge or not being held or just being held indefinitely. Like there's a multitude of reasons why. Now, again, I'm not sitting here justifying it, but I do think it's important that the public understand.
I hear this crap out, guys. So I'm going to have an actual Jewish guy. Shout out to this guy, Adam King. I think he's from InfoWars. But he explained it on the Tim Pool podcast about what it actually is.
Big thing over at InfoWars and on the dissident right media for the longest time, the Jew hate media. Yeah, do you have my tweet that I actually put on my? So I basically what happened, if you want to go to the first slide first before we play the video, about a month ago on July 1st, there was an announcement that they were going to do a practice run of the red heifer. And prior to this, the media outrage that the Jews were going to go do this red heifer, you had like these lunatics like Stu Peters and others who were saying, this is going to usher in the Antichrist, blah, blah, blah. And it was like a real big media balagan. It was really a bad twist. So they said that and also the government wasn't going to let them. So what they did was they said, we're just going to do a practice one with one of the 5 disqualified cows. The government said, okay, whatever. They ended up going out, doing a real cow. One of the cow's name was Tikva. They made the offering, and it was a real offering. They did it all by the laws. And I have with me some of the ashes right here, red heifer ashes. It's pretty incredible. The red heifer, the last time that the red heifer was done was over 2,000 years ago. The first time it was done by Moses. The second time it was done by Ezra from the book in the Bible. And that shows you how long the ashes can last for. So a pure red heifer doesn't come about all the time. And in this generation, we had 21 of them that were born. Pure. They picked 7 to bring to Israel. And out of the 7, Israel only allowed them to have 5 brought in. And they've been sitting around just doing nothing because the media outrage has been so astronomical about it. But the red heifer people, they fooled
because they know you're going to take down the third temple after you do it.
Everybody. And they successfully performed the ritual about a month ago. Now, in the ritual, you're supposed to have hyssop. I have also hyssop that is from the actual ritual, and also the red heifer ashes. And these get put into a clay jar and then sprinkled on people in a healing ritual. And it removes the impurity of death and allows for people to heal. So since this started, they have been sprinkling on people. There was a man with Alzheimer's who just started remembering everything, sight to the blind. There's some real miracles that have happened in the last month since this thing has gone down. But the ashes, just like I have a little bag, there was 10.5 gallons of ashes. And this is only a dime bag full. And these ashes have been disseminated. They're here to stay. They will never be found. So many people have them. And this little bag can power about 10,000 doses.
power about it. That makes it sound like really potent cocaine.
It packs a punch. Yeah.
This is the stuff right here,
Test
man.
it for fent.
This is the. But we could go smoke this after the show. But no, I'm just kidding. Come back from the dead after you do something like that. But I have a video from the ritual, and if you want to play it, I don't know if you. It has copyrighted music. Can you slide it so people could see the slide? So these are the slides of the actual ceremony being taken place, and that's tikva. And everything was done specifically according to halacha, which is Jewish law.
Not for real.
It was a perfect cow, and meaning that it doesn't have a single hair that is not red. And also, it could never have been burdened with work. So you can't even.
You know, so crazy. A bunch of Jews were actually celebrating this in Times Square. This is why I say, like, you know, why y'all was getting mad about Muslims praying in Times Square. These guys were celebrating the return of the Antichrist. Yeah.
A shovel up against the cow. They have to be treated in a very specific way for their whole life. And then the person who does the ritual can never have been in contact with death.
Okay.
So basically, they're not allowed to go to. They have to be of a specific bloodline. And what they do was they raise these children in like these elevated homes above the ground, and they never leave the home until they're ready to do the rituals. And that's like how they never come into contact with death. So the priest,
shout out Trump Bunny. You're spot on.
Who did this literally lived in his home for over 20 years before he
never left.
Nope. Because he was born to do.
Yeah, I heard they keep these kids in like high-rise buildings away from like family, like maybe a little bit of friends, but they're not allowed to see death. So they're not around having no animals, because as soon as they experience death, like pretty much see it or witness it, they can no longer do the ritual. So they keep these kids pretty sheltered, or individuals.
Do this ritual.
Wow.
And now that it's been done, the Messiah can come.
Okay, so this is you're talking about the return of the
return
Messiah.
of the Mac. Here we go.
So this is like the Jewish Messiah is going to come back. Would that be similar? Would that be like the return of Christ, or would it be a different?
Here's the thing: I think the most fundamental difference between Judaism and Christianity is that Judaism actually believes in reincarnation, and so the Messiah is here in every generation. And there's a process by which we are awakened enough to accept the Messiah. So if the Messiah doesn't come, he dies, he's reconstituted, born into the matrix again, and has to find his way back to another thing. We can't build the temple until this happened. And now that this happened, the Messiah can come build the third temple in Jerusalem.
Yeah. And here's there's another video, a little bit more ominous looking.
Prophecy that they themselves should build the temple, and when they build the temple, the Messiah comes. Other Jews believe that they should not build the temple, that they have to wait, and it is the Messiah who comes and he builds the temple. And that's why you see many videos where you'll find that there's Jews that are waving Palestinian flags or protesting along with the Palestinians because they believe that the Jews have committed a great error because they're waiting on the Messiah.
And this is why I say not all Jews. That's why I always say it's not all of them.
Messiah, while these ones are going ahead of the Messiah and they're trying to fulfill or relive prophecy in the Bible. Some Jews believe that they should act as the fulfillers of prophecy, that they themselves.
All right. But now we get an understanding about the whole red heifer, right? We understand. Fantastic. And make sure to double tap that screen and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.